Ladies, co-parenting is not always easy, but it is necessary when children are involved. Whether the relationship ended on good terms or bad, the focus must shift from personal emotions to what is best for the child. Too often, parents allow resentment, anger, or past hurt to dictate how they interact with each other, and the child suffers as a result. Successful co-parenting requires emotional maturity, patience, and a commitment to creating stability for your child. You don't have to like each other, you don't have to be best friends, but you do have to work together. When both parents are willing to do what is necessary, the child grows up in a healthy environment free from unnecessary stress and tension. Communication is the foundation of successful co-parenting. Without it, misunderstandings, unnecessary conflicts, and frustration become the norm, creating a stressful environment for both parents and, most importantly, the child. Clear communication ensures that both parents are on the same page about important matters, from daily routines to major life decisions. It eliminates confusion and allows for a more structured, peaceful co-parenting dynamic. While it may not always be easy, effective communication is essential for creating a stable and supportive environment for your child. One of the biggest mistakes co-parents make is allowing personal emotions to dictate communication. If there is unresolved resentment, anger, or pain from the past relationship, it can easily spill over into conversations about parenting. This leads to unnecessary arguments, passive-aggressive behavior, or complete breakdowns in communication. The focus must always remain on the child's well-being. Regardless of personal feelings, both parents must commit to speaking with respect and keeping conversations productive. If emotions are high, it's better to take a step back and return to the conversation when both parties can communicate rationally. The method of communication is also important. If face-to-face conversations lead to conflict, other options should be considered. Text messages, emails, or co-parenting apps can help keep communication clear, professional, and documented if necessary. Written communication allows both parents to think before responding, reducing the likelihood of emotional reactions that could escalate into argument. However, it's crucial to maintain a respectful tone even in writing. Messages should be direct, focused on the child, and free from unnecessary negativity. Consistency in communication is another key factor. Both parents should be informed about important aspects of the child's life, including school updates, medical appointments, and extracurricular activities. Keeping one parent in the dark about these things creates unnecessary tension and can make the child feel caught in the middle. Even if one parent has primary custody, the other parent should still be involved in major decisions and kept updated on a child's progress. Open communication helps build trust between co-parents and reassures the child that both parents are invested in their well-being. Listening is just as important as speaking. Many co-parents focus on getting their point across, but fail to truly hear the other person. Effective communication involves active listening, meaning both parents take the time to understand each other's perspectives without immediately reacting defensively. Even if disagreements arise, both parties should strive to find solutions that benefit the child rather than focusing on personal grievances. When disagreements occur, it's important to keep the child out of them. Arguing in front of the child or using them as a messenger only creates confusion and emotional stress. If discussions become heated, it's best to pause and revisit the conversation at a later time when both parties can communicate more calmly. The goal is not to prove who is right, but to find the best possible outcome for the child. When communication remains respectful, clear, and focused on a child's needs, co-parenting becomes much smoother and more effective. Setting boundaries in co-parenting is essential for maintaining a healthy and functional dynamic. Without clear boundaries, emotions, personal conflicts, and miscommunications can interfere with parenting, making the process more difficult than it needs to be. Boundaries create structure, define expectations, and help both parents navigate their roles without unnecessary confusion or frustration. When both parents understand and respect these limits, co-parenting becomes smoother, reducing tension and ensuring that the focus remains on the child's well-being. One of the most important boundaries to establish is defining the nature of the co-parenting relationship. Just because you share a child does not mean you have to maintain a close personal relationship. If remaining friends is possible and healthy for both of you, that's great. But if personal interactions lead to conflict, it is okay to keep things strictly about parenting. This means limiting conversations to child-related topics and avoiding discussions about past relationships, personal lives, or anything that could trigger unnecessary arguments. Keeping communication focused on the child helps prevent old wounds from resurfacing and keeps the co-parenting relationship professional and respectful. Respecting each other's personal space and parenting time. When the child is with one parent, the other parent should avoid unnecessary interference unless it involves an emergency or an important issue that requires immediate attention. Constantly checking in, making unannounced visits, or trying to control how things are done in the other household creates tension and oversteps boundaries. Both parents should have the freedom to parent in their own way, as long as it aligns with the child's best interests and agreed upon guidelines. Having clear agreements on parenting schedules, pickup and drop-off times, and decision-making responsibilities prevents misunderstandings and reduces conflict. Boundaries also extend to new relationships. If either parent moves on and enters a new relationship, it's important to establish rules about when and how new partners are introduced to the child. Rushing the introduction or bringing multiple partners into the child's life too soon can create confusion and instability. Both parents should have an open and respectful conversation about expectations regarding new relationships, ensuring that any new person brought into the child's life is a positive influence. This boundary prevents unnecessary drama and helps maintain a stable environment for the child. Financial responsibilities are another area where boundaries must be set. Co-parents should have a clear agreement on child-related expenses, including school fees, medical costs, extracurricular activities, and daily necessities. Financial discussions should be straightforward and free from emotional manipulation. Neither parent should use money as a way to gain control or punish the other. A structured agreement prevents future disputes and ensures that the child's needs are always met. Setting boundaries requires mutual respect and a willingness to cooperate. It's about protecting the child from unnecessary conflict while allowing both parents to function independently within their roles. Boundaries provide a sense of security and consistency, which is crucial for the child's emotional and mental well-being. When both parents understand and honor these limits, co-parenting becomes much more manageable and peaceful. Consistency is one of the most important factors in successful co-parenting. Children thrive on stability, routine, and predictability. And when both parents provide a consistent environment, it helps the child feel secure and supported. Inconsistent parenting can create confusion, anxiety, and even behavioral issues, as the child may struggle to adjust to conflicting rules, expectations, and discipline methods between two households. When co-parents commit to maintaining consistency, it fosters a sense of normalcy and reduces unnecessary stress for the child. One of the most crucial areas where consistency matters is in discipline and household rules. If one parent allows certain behaviors while the other enforces strict consequences, the child receives mixed signals. This can lead to manipulation, where the child learns to play one parent against the other to get what they want. To avoid this, both parents should have open discussions about rules, consequences, and expectations regarding homework, bedtime, screen time, chores, and overall behavior. Even though each household may have some differences, major rules should remain aligned so the child does not experience a drastic shift every time they transition between homes. Routine is another important aspect of consistency. Children feel more secure when they know what to expect. Having predictable schedules for school drop-offs, pickups, weekend visits, and holiday arrangements minimizes confusion and makes the transition between parents easier. Sudden last-minute changes or an unpredictable schedule can create unnecessary anxiety for the child. Co-parents should agree on a schedule that works for both parties and stick to it as much as possible. If changes need to be made, it's important to communicate them in advance so the child is not caught off guard. Consistency also applies to emotional support and communication. Both parents should reassure the child that they are loved and valued regardless of the separation. The way parents speak about each other in front of the child greatly impacts their emotional well-being. Negative talk, blaming, or expressing frustration about the other parent creates emotional distress. A consistent message of love, encouragement, and support from both parents helps the child feel safe and confident in their relationship with each parent. Consistency is involvement in the child's education and extracurricular activity. Both parents should stay informed about the child's progress in school, attend parent-teacher meetings when possible, and support their interests and hobbies. If one parent is engaged while the other remains distant, the child may feel neglected or like one parent cares more than the other. Co-parents should work together to ensure that the child receives equal encouragement and support, regardless of which home they are in. Financial consistency is also essential. Both parents should contribute fairly to the child's needs, including medical expenses, school supplies, and extracurricular activities. Clear agreements about financial responsibilities prevent conflicts and ensure that the child's well-being remains the priority. When both parents prioritize consistency, the child experiences a sense of stability and security. They don't have to worry about uncertainty or constantly adjusting to different expectations. Instead, they can focus on growing, learning, and developing in a supportive and loving environment. Separating personal emotions from parenting is one of the most challenging yet necessary aspects of successful co-parenting. When a relationship ends, it often leaves behind hurt, disappointment, resentment, or even anger. If these emotions are not properly managed, they can spill over into co-parenting, creating unnecessary conflict and tension. However, co-parenting is not about the past relationship. It is about raising a child in a stable and healthy environment. Allowing emotions to interfere with parenting decisions can negatively impact the child and make the entire process more difficult than it needs to be. One of the biggest mistakes co-parents make is using their child as an emotional outlet. When one parent speaks negatively about the other in front of the child, it creates confusion, guilt, and emotional distress. The child should never feel like they have to choose sides or carry the burden of their parents' unresolved feelings. Even if the other parent has made mistakes or caused pain, those issues should not be projected onto the child. The focus should always be on ensuring the child feels loved and supported by both parents, regardless of what happened in the past relationship. Allowing personal frustration to dictate co-parenting interactions. If communication between co-parents is fueled by resentment or anger, conversations often turn into arguments rather than productive discussion. This not only makes co-parenting more difficult, but also increases stress for the child. It is important to approach co-parenting interactions with a mindset of cooperation rather than conflict. If emotions are running high, it is okay to take a step back and revisit the conversation later when both parties can communicate calmly and rationally. Setting emotional boundaries is crucial in separating personal feelings from parenting responsibility. Co-parents should establish clear guidelines on how they will interact, what topics are off limits, and how they will handle disagreements. Keeping conversations focused on the child prevents unnecessary emotional tension and allows both parents to work together more effectively. If needed, limiting direct communication to written forms such as emails or co-parenting apps can help keep emotions in check while ensuring that important information is still shared. Forgiveness also plays a significant role in managing emotions in co-parenting. Holding on to resentment only creates more conflict and tension. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting or excusing past actions, but it does mean choosing to move forward for the sake of the child's well-being. Letting go of anger allows co-parents to focus on what truly matters, raising a happy, healthy child. Co-parenting requires maturity, patience, and the ability to put the child's needs above personal grievances. When emotions are properly managed, interactions become more productive, and co-parenting becomes a smoother experience. The child benefits from seeing their parents work together rather than witnessing ongoing conflict. Learning to separate emotions from parenting is not always easy, but it is essential for creating a peaceful and supportive environment for the child. One of the most damaging things that can happen in a co-parenting relationship is using the child as a messenger or a weapon. This places an unfair burden on the child, making them feel caught in the middle of adult conflicts. A child should never be responsible for relaying messages, especially when those messages involve arguments, disagreements, or tension between parents. When children are put in this position, it creates unnecessary emotional stress, leading to feelings of anxiety, confusion, and even guilt. Co-parenting should be about making life easier for the child, not adding additional weight to their shoulders. Using a child as a messenger often happens when parents have difficulty communicating directly. Instead of finding a mature and effective way to discuss parenting matters, they rely on the child to deliver information. This can lead to misunderstandings, misinterpretations, or even manipulation. A child may feel pressured to choose sides or change the message to avoid upsetting one parent. This not only damages the co-parenting relationship, but also negatively affects the child's sense of stability and emotional well-being. No child should feel like they are responsible for managing their parents' relationship. Another harmful behavior is using the child as a weapon. This happens when one parent tries to punish or hurt the other by controlling access to the child, making threats, or manipulating the child's emotions against the other parent. This type of behavior is not only unfair, but also emotionally damaging to the child. They need to feel safe and secure in both parental relationships without being influenced by one parent's personal grievances against the other. Some parents unknowingly weaponize their children by speaking negatively about the other parent in front of them, whether it's making subtle remarks or outright insults. This puts the child in a painful position. They may feel like they have to defend one parent or take sides, which creates unnecessary emotional turmoil. Even if there are legitimate issues between co-parents, those issues should be handled privately, not through the child. Children should be free to love and connect with both parents without guilt, pressure, or interference. To prevent these issues, co-parents must commit to keeping their interactions and communication separate from the child. If direct communication is difficult, written communication through email or co-parenting apps can help ensure that messages are clear and free from emotional tension. Parents should also encourage their child to have a healthy relationship with the other parent, regardless of their personal feelings. The goal is to create a sense of emotional safety for the child, where they do not feel forced to pick sides or act as a middleman. When co-parents respect boundaries and communicate directly with each other rather than through the child, they create a more peaceful and supportive environment. The child benefits from knowing that both parents are working together for their best interests, rather than being caught in a conflict they should never have been a part of. Keeping the child out of adult issues allows them to focus on their own growth, happiness, and emotional well-being. Respecting each other's role as parents is essential for a successful co-parenting relationship. Regardless of how the romantic relationship ended, both parents play a crucial role in the child's life. When one parent undermines or disrespects the other's position, it creates unnecessary tension and can negatively impact the child's emotional well-being. A child benefits most when both parents are equally involved and valued in their upbringing. Recognizing and honoring each other's role helps create a cooperative and stable co-parenting environment where the child feels supported and secure. One of the biggest mistakes co-parents make is trying to control or diminish the other parent's authority. This can happen when one parent constantly criticizes the other's parenting style, refuses to acknowledge their contributions, or makes unilateral decisions without consulting them. While differences in parenting styles are normal, both parents should have an equal voice in major decisions affecting the child. Dismissing or disregarding the other parent's input can lead to resentment and conflict, making co-parenting more difficult. Instead of trying to control how the other parent operates, it's important to find common ground and compromise when necessary. Another issue that arises is when one parent tries to make the child overly dependent on them while pushing the other parent away. This often happens when a parent feels hurt or abandoned by the other, leading them to believe they must be the better parent to gain the child's loyalty. However, children do not need a favorite parent. They need both parents to be present, involved, and respected. Encouraging a strong bond between the child and the other parent, even if personal feelings are complicated, is in the child's best interest. A parent should never allow personal emotions to interfere with the child's right to have a relationship with both parents. Respect also extends to communication. Co-parents should speak to and about each other with respect, especially in front of the child. Speaking negatively about the other parent can create confusion and emotional distress, making the child feel like they must take sides. Even if disagreements exist, they should be handled privately and maturely without putting the child in the middle. The way co-parents interact with each other sets an example for the child on how to handle relationships, conflict, and communication in their own lives. Respecting each other's role also means acknowledging that both parents bring different strengths to the table. One parent may be more structured, while the other may be more nurturing. One may be better at handling school-related matters, while the other excels at fostering creativity and play. These differences should be embraced rather than seen as competition. A well-balanced parenting dynamic allows a child to benefit from both perspectives, experiences, and parenting styles. A successful co-parenting relationship is built on mutual respect, understanding, and the shared goal of raising a happy and well-adjusted child. When both parents recognize and honor each other's role, it eliminates unnecessary power struggles and creates a healthier environment for everyone involved. The child is the priority, and respecting one another as parents is key to making co-parenting work effectively. Effective communication is one of the most important factors in successful co-parenting. Without clear, respectful, and consistent communication, misunderstandings and conflicts can easily arise, making co-parenting more difficult and stressful for everyone involved, especially the child. Co-parenting is about teamwork, and just like any successful partnership, open communication is essential for ensuring that both parents are aligned when it comes to the child's needs, schedules, and overall well-being. Learning how to communicate in a healthy and productive way can make a significant difference in maintaining a cooperative co-parenting relationship. One of the first steps in improving communication is keeping interactions focused on the child. Personal emotions, past conflicts, or lingering resentment should not interfere with discussions about parenting. When conversations become about past grievances instead of the child's well-being, they quickly turn into arguments rather than productive exchanges. Setting a clear intention before communicating can help keep interactions professional and child-centered. If emotions begin to take over, it may be best to pause the conversation and revisit it later with a clearer mindset. Using the right communication methods is also crucial. Some co-parents are able to speak directly without conflict, while others may find that written communication, such as emails or co-parenting apps, helps keep interactions smoother. Written communication can also help prevent misinterpretations and provide a record of agreements or discussions. Whatever method works best, the goal should always be clarity, respect, and consistency in how information is shared. Respectful language plays a key role in co-parenting communication. Speaking in a way that is calm, respectful, and to the point helps prevent unnecessary conflict. Even if the other parent is being difficult or uncooperative, responding with patience rather than anger can help de-escalate the situation. Tone is just as important as word sarcasm, passive aggressiveness, or dismissive attitudes can quickly turn a simple conversation into an argument. Maintaining a neutral and solution-focused tone ensures that discussions remain productive. Effective communication is active listening. Too often, co-parents focus on making their own points rather than truly hearing what the other person is saying. Listening with the intent to understand rather than to respond helps build a more cooperative dynamic. Even when there are disagreements, acknowledging the other parent's perspective shows mutual respect and makes it easier to find common ground. Consistency in communication also helps build trust. Keeping the other parent informed about important updates regarding the child, such as school events, medical appointments, or changes in schedules prevents miscommunication and ensures both parents remain actively involved. Even when a relationship is strained, making an effort to communicate regularly shows commitment to co-parenting in a responsible and mature way. Effective communication in co-parenting is not about being perfect. It's about being intentional and prioritizing the child's best interests. When both parents work towards open and respectful communication, it creates a more peaceful and structured environment where the child can thrive. The ability to communicate well reduces tension, fosters cooperation, and ultimately benefits the child by ensuring they have a stable and supportive upbringing. Flexibility is essential in co-parenting because life is unpredictable and circumstances can change unexpectedly. While maintaining a structured schedule is important for a child's sense of stability, being too rigid can create unnecessary tension and conflict between co-parents. The ability to adapt to changes while keeping the child's best interests at heart is what makes co-parenting work smoothly. When both parents approach co-parenting with a flexible mindset, it fosters a more cooperative and peaceful dynamic, reducing stress for everyone involved. One of the most common areas where flexibility is required is in scheduling. There will be times when unexpected situations arise, whether it's a work commitment, a family emergency, or a change in the child's extracurricular activities. Being willing to adjust plans when necessary shows maturity and a shared commitment to prioritizing the child's well-being. If one parent is unwilling to compromise or make adjustments, it can create unnecessary conflict and put the child in the middle of an argument. On the other hand, when both parents are willing to work together and be understanding, it sets a positive example for the child on how to handle life's uncertainties with grace and cooperation. Flexibility also extends to parenting styles. No two people parent exactly the same way, and that's okay. While certain core rules and expectations should be consistent between households, each parent may have their own unique approach to discipline, routines, and daily activities. Trying to control how the other parent parents can create unnecessary frustration. Instead of focusing on minor differences, it's important to respect each other's parenting styles as long as the child is safe, supported, and receiving consistent love and care. Being flexible also means knowing when to put personal differences aside for the greater good. There may be times when one parent has to compromise or make adjustments for the benefit of the child, whether it's swapping weekends for a special event, adjusting holiday plans, or working together to accommodate changes in the child's needs. A willingness to be flexible ensures that the child's experience remains as positive as possible. When co-parents are constantly arguing over rigid rules and schedules, the child absorbs that tension, which can make them feel stressed or guilty for simply wanting to spend time with both parents. Approaching co-parenting with a spirit of teamwork and flexibility allows both parents to navigate challenges more effectively. It prevents unnecessary resentment and creates a cooperative environment where the child feels secure and loved. While structure is important, the ability to adapt to changing circumstances is just as valuable in ensuring a successful co-parenting relationship. Keeping the child's well-being as the top priority is the foundation of successful co-parenting. When parents allow personal emotions, past conflicts, or their own desires to take precedence over what is best for the child, it creates unnecessary stress and instability. The focus should always be on providing a supportive, loving, and consistent environment where the child feels safe, valued, and free to have a relationship with both parents. Every decision made in the co-parenting dynamic should be centered around the child's emotional, mental, and physical well-being. One of the biggest mistakes co-parents make is letting their personal issues interfere with parenting decisions. It is natural to have unresolved feelings after a breakup, whether it's resentment, anger, or disappointment. However, these emotions should never dictate how co-parenting is handled. Using the child as a way to get back at the other parent, limiting their time together out of spite, or making decisions based on revenge rather than what is best for the child only causes harm. The child should not be put in a position where they feel like they have to choose sides or carry the emotional weight of their parents' conflicts. Prioritizing the child's well-being is maintaining consistency and stability. Children thrive when they have a structured routine and know what to expect. Constant disruptions, last-minute cancellations, or frequent changes in parenting arrangements can create anxiety and confusion. Both parents should work together to provide a sense of stability by honoring agreements, respecting each other's time with the child, and maintaining open communication about schedules and expectations. Encouraging a healthy relationship with both parents is also essential. No matter how one parent may feel about the other, the child deserves to have a meaningful bond with both. Speaking negatively about the other parent in front of the child, blocking communication, or discouraging their relationship can lead to long-term emotional damage. A child should feel free to love and connect with both parents without guilt, fear, or pressure. Prioritizing the child's well-being also means being mindful of their emotional needs. Co-parenting is not just about logistics, it's about ensuring the child feels emotionally supported, heard, and valued. Checking in with them, listening to their feelings, and making sure they have a safe space to express themselves can make a significant difference in their overall happiness and development. When both parents commit to keeping the child's needs at the center of every decision, co-parenting becomes smoother, and the child benefits from a stable and nurturing upbringing. Patience is one of the most important qualities needed for a successful co-parenting relationship. Adjusting to a new dynamic after a separation or divorce takes time, and expecting everything to go smoothly right away can lead to frustration. Co-parenting comes with challenges, and there will be moments of disagreement, misunderstandings, or emotional setbacks. Practicing patience allows both parents to navigate these difficulties without escalating conflicts or making rash decisions that could negatively impact the child. The ability to take a step back, breathe, and approach situations with a calm mindset helps create a more stable and cooperative environment. One of the biggest areas where patience is required is in adjusting to new roles and responsibility. When a relationship ends, both parents must learn to function independently while still working together for the benefit of the child. This shift can be challenging, especially if one parent feels like they are doing more than the other or if one is struggling to meet expectations. Instead of immediately reacting with frustration, giving each other the grace to adjust can help ease the transition. Co-parenting is a long-term commitment, and it takes time to establish a rhythm that works for everyone. Patience is also necessary when dealing with different parenting styles. No two parents will handle every situation the same way, and there will be moments when one disagrees with the other's approach. While consistency is important, expecting complete uniformity in both households is unrealistic. Instead of trying to control how the other parent operates, it's better to focus on what truly matters, ensuring the child feels loved, supported, and secure. Accepting that some differences are inevitable can prevent unnecessary conflict and help both parents work together more effectively. Patience in co-parenting is managing emotions. Hurt feelings, lingering resentment, or past conflicts can easily resurface, especially in moments of stress. Reacting impulsively out of anger or frustration can make co-parenting more difficult and put the child in the middle of unnecessary tension. Taking time to process emotions before responding, practicing self-control, and choosing words carefully can help prevent small disagreements from turning into larger issues. Patience also extends to the child's adjustment. Divorce or separation can be a major change for them, and they may need time to process their emotions, adapt to new routines, and feel secure in their new reality. Being patient with their needs, listening to their concerns, and reassuring them that both parents are still there for them can make a significant difference in their well-being. When parents approach co-parenting with patience, it creates a calmer, more supportive environment where the child can thrive. Successful co-parenting is not about perfection. It's about effort, respect, and keeping the child's well-being as the top priority. When both parents commit to healthy communication, clear boundaries, consistency, emotional maturity, and flexibility, co-parenting becomes much easier. Your child deserves a peaceful environment, and it is up to both parents to provide that. Even if the relationship didn't work out, the parenting partnership can still be successful when handled with maturity and love.